Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Angel and I'm so glad that you're here. Well, on Sunday, 8th of June, President Russell M. Nelson dedicated the Syracuse Utah Temple. I did a video on this temple a week or so ago and its significance. So if you want to get updated on that, go back and watch that video. It is the 206th temple dedicated, and it was dedicated by President Russell M. Nelson, who is amazing because he is 100 years old and he is still serving in this type of capacity, which is just incredible to me. He is just so amazing and I love him so much. All of the photos and the quotes and everything that I'll be using in this video are actually from Deseret News. I will leave the link of the article in the description box below, so if you want to go and have a look at it. The photos are beautiful. I just think they did such a good job. Anyway, here's a lovely photo of President Nelson. He was accompanied by Sister Wendy Nelson and Elder Quinton L. Cook of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles and his wife, Sister Mary Cook. Also Elder Kevin R. Duncan, a General Authority 70 and Executive Director of the Temple Department, and his wife, Sister Nancy Duncan, and Elder Hugo E. Martinez, General Authority 70 and Counselor in the Utah Area Presidency, and his wife, Sister Nuria Martinez, also attended. There's a couple of reasons why I wanted to do a video about this. The first was that it's President Nelson is actually he dedicated this temple, and that's significant to me. He is 100, he'll be 101 this year, but he is still out there serving. And this is the temple with the two fonts. It's the first one to be dedicated, so that's significant as well. And as I read the article further along, and I'll share with you a story about a family and their connection to the land that the temple is built on. It's a beautiful story and I really love it, so I wanted to share that as well. But this is something that President Nelson said. We are such a blessed people, President Nelson said in Syracuse. The temple provides an opportunity to increase access to blessings from Heavenly Father, he said. This is the Lord's house. It is filled with His power. Those who live His higher laws have access to His higher power. God's power helps us to grow from the trials of life rather than be defeated by them. God's power also helps us to withstand temptations with joy in our hearts. It's beautiful how He keeps counseling us and instructing us to go to the temple, that we will find peace there, that we will find joy there, that angels will have charge over us, and that if we seek Christ, worthily seek Him in our hearts, we will find Him there in His holy house. This is part of the dedicatory prayer that President Nelson gave at the dedication. I just took a part of it, and I will leave a description. In the description box, I'll leave a link for the entire thing. So please go read it. It's really beautiful. But I just took a part of it to share with you today. In the prayer, he said, "We are grateful to be disciples of Jesus Christ and to know that He stands at the head of His church. He directs His work through those whom we sustain as prophets, seers, and revelators. We pray that this temple may be a house of peace and personal revelation for all who are worthy to enter these doors. May their families be strengthened and protected as they serve here. Please inspire our youth to attend Thy house often. Please bless them with a desire always to be worthy of a temple recommend. Please inspire all who enter Thy house to stand as witnesses of Thee and Thy beloved Son. For these blessings and all else that Thou seest fit to grant unto us, we thank Thee." I guess the thing that stood out to me here was the mention of the youth, because this temple does have two fonts. And Elder Cook actually addresses that, and I'll talk about that in the next slide. But as I was reading this, and as I was reading the entire prayer, I was reminded that these are blessings for all of our temples, and I don't know, I just cannot, and my mind can't comprehend just how blessed we are to have them here on the earth at this time, and what the prophets of old, some of them saw our day. They saw these temples of the Lord going up in all nations all around the world, and what that must have been like for them to see that. And here we are living it. We're right in the middle of it. We get to experience it, and we're called a blessed people. We really are. So Elder Cook said, he knows the youth are excited for the extra capacity. With 2 baptistries, we know the youth will rejoice as they make the Syracuse Temple an oasis for sacred ordinances, he said. Having a sanctified temple of the Lord, the dedicated Syracuse Utah Temple is truly a supernal blessing. Elder Cook said there are more than 10,000 youth in the temple district. That's incredible to me. 10,000 youth in that district that can go there and utilize the baptistries. And can you imagine the amount of work that's going to be done? It's mind-blowing. It's the hastening of the Lord's work. To carry on, he said, I think the Lord provides where the people are willing to respond. And I wouldn't be surprised to see additional baptismal fonts in other temples, but this is a good place to start. Okay, so I mentioned that there was a story about a family and their connection to the land that the temple has been built on. And in the article, I'm just going to read it straight from it because it's easier and it's better and it sounds better and you get all the information. So Neil and Caroline Briggs emerged from the dedication with what they described as both a sense of relief and a renewed sense of purpose. The land where the temple was built has been in Neil Briggs's family since his great-great-grandfather purchased it in 1885, 10 years before the first ward was established in the area. The Briggs family had farmed that land for the 140 years they owned it. I've told my family for years that I hold this land dear and I need every acre I can get to farm, he said. He told them he wouldn't sell or develop the land, and he didn't allow family to build on it either. But I always added the clause, unless the Lord happens to need it for a temple, he said. So when he had his first discussions with the church about the land potentially being used to build a temple, he said he felt it was game time, that the others were going to want to that others were going to want to know if he would keep his word now that the temple was a possibility. Thomas Briggs was that first ancestor who purchased the land. He had a quote that has been passed down and now hangs on Neil and Caroline Briggs's wall. All that I have is the Lord's, and in the end I hope to be his, Thomas Briggs said. The end result is a temple the Briggs family loves and looks forward to serving in. Now, if you look at this picture, and if you notice the one before, that entire area was part of their land. I don't know how much of it still is, or if the church owns all of it now, but it's huge and it's massive. And I just love the fact that I think he was in tune with the Lord. He knew not to develop it or put anything on it, but just to farm it. And there must have been something instinctive in his spirit to make that decision to not do anything with it in case the Lord needed it. And what a beautiful legacy that family now has to pass down. It must feel very, very special, this temple, to them. So this is Caroline Briggs, who is married to Neil Briggs, and they were the ones who owned the land at the time of the church approaching them and asking them about the land for the temple. And she said, I love every inch of this temple, Caroline Briggs said. This was all our ground, and it was always sacred to us. Now it's sacred to the Lord. Isn't that beautiful? And I just think that it's really fitting to end on that little quote from Thomas Briggs. All that I have is the Lord's, and in the end I hope to be His. And I guess that's kind of what we all hope for, Brother Briggs. It's just, it's such a beautiful quote, and it's something that I think most of us hope for in our hearts, is to belong to Him. And I'll just end it on that note with a beautiful picture of one of the windows in the Syracuse Temple. I hope you enjoyed this video. Put some comments down below if you feel inclined, or like it. Subscribe if you're not. We'll do more videos like this. I just felt really impressed to do a video on this temple today, and I'm really glad I did. So I hope you enjoyed. Take care. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.